Mornings with Intention podcast, where we bring you stories from around the globe. Hello, and welcome to Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. Today, I have a wonderful guest with me, Sherri Leopold. Welcome. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much, Eva. I am amazing because I am rising and thriving with you. So thank you for
Yay!
having me.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Just before we get jump into the questions, please tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from.
I am married for almost 38 years, three kids, four grandkids, two cats, and a dog. I always say a partridge in a pear tree. I'm the founder of the Wow Warrior Network, which comprised of a magazine and a television show, and also have a social media show called Wow, Look Who's Here. Been in network marketing slash affiliate marketing for 27
Wow.
years. So that's a little bit about me. I do lots of things. I do some private mentoring and personal coaching as well. I like to do lots of different things because I have lots of interests. So, and I write, obviously, and speak.
Wow, that's amazing. So many things, but it's great you get to serve the humanity. So I love that. And how's the weather where you are? Is it like fall or is it?
It's drying out a little bit. I'm in central US, so it's usually very humid and hot here. So it's still pretty warm right now, but it's actually a little bit drier, so it's more tolerable. So cutting all the corn down. So
Oh,
I
wow.
I live in cornfield country, so
Oh, nice. So harvest season.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Today I think is one of our last days that's gonna be like still very nice, and apparently it's supposed to change after today. So we'll see. Probably time to take out that thicker jacket.
Yeah. Get those at least the sweatshirt weather. I love that. So
Yeah. So let's jump right into it. You call people unrepeatable miracles. I want to start with that. Can you share what that means and why is this foundation of your work?
Oh, thank you for asking that question, Eva, because it's something that's very central to really everything I do. When I talk about standing up and standing out as that unrepeatable miracle, it really is pointing at the fact that you literally are a one of a kind human being. There isn't anyone on the entire planet of 8 billion people that has your DNA, which actually means I always say you're a snowflake, right? Because there's no two snowflakes the same. They all look like snow, just like we all look like people, but none of us are exactly the same. Not even identical twins are not exactly the same. They're going to like different things, they're going to be good at different things. Every single one of us is a unique human being, and that's what that really means is an unrepeatable miracle. Literally, you're so special, you're not repeated anywhere. You are that clearly an individual, which actually means that nobody on this planet can be exactly like you. They can't serve like you. They can't write like you. They can't speak like you. They can't coach like you. They can't have a business like you. They can't love like you. Like they can not be you. Only you can be exactly you. That's what that means.
Wow, that is beautiful.
Oh, I love it because see, you just said the word that is central to my entire uh, work, history, career, everything. Because WOW is the name of my network is WOW Warrior, which stands for Woman of Worth Warrior. Wow, because that's the word that everybody says is wow. So thanks for walking right into it, Emma.
Wow, no problem. So you are the visionary too leader behind the Stop Self-Bullying movement, like it says on your dash there. What inspired you to start it?
Oh, thank you. I love that question because it actually takes me back, and I think maybe this has been part of my DNA, if you will, for probably 50 years, really, because it really started even in my teen years. Like self-bullying, I just to describe what it is it's what you say to yourself. It's the words that you have in your head that are going around. I call it your ticker tape in your head, right? They're that inner voice that's always running on repeat. And that self-bullying we hear self, it's obviously oneself. Bullying is a widely understood word, but when we put those two things together, what it really points to is how you speak to yourself, truly internally. People are a little bit more covert about that negative self-talk outward because other people call them on it or are shocked when they say things like that. Uh, Although it's probably more widely accepted than would like to think, but it's the internal part that is so challenging. And it kind of throws back to about almost 7 years ago now. I had an incident where I was helping a friend and she was having a hard time, and she made this face and she was going like that and kind of rolled her eyes. And I said, "Why did you say that to yourself?" And she said, "What?" And I said, "Oh, I'm always going to be broke. I'm always going to be alone. Life sucks, whatever." And she just, her eyes were huge and she said, "How did you know that?" I said, "Did you think you needed to say it out loud for me to hear it?" She goes, "Wow." It was like one of the first times you heard the word wow. And that conversation really stuck in my mind. And then the next day, because these two incidents were really close together, I was driving in the car and I heard that Anthony Bourdain had committed suicide. And it was only 3 days after Kate Spade. And all I could see was my friend's face
Mm.
sitting on my floor that day before, not even like 14 hours earlier. And I was gripped a little bit with fear because I was like, oh my gosh, like how I don't want to get that call about her. And I was like, these people took themselves out when they had everything to live for, right? They had the best job they could ever want. They had their dream jobs. They were making more money than they could ever spend in their lifetime. They had family who loved them and friends and people who adored them, both. They had so much success, and that's not where she was at. And I thought, what is going to keep her from doing that? And I felt a little panicky, I have to say. I was on my way to a networking group, and so this all transpired in just a very short, like 8 to 10 minute ride. I was in the car, and I was like, I felt this incessant need. I had to do something very pressing. I needed to do something. What can I do? And I was sharing a vitamin like that. That was my primary source of revenue. I'm still in that company, but I was like, I, I how can I help people doing this? And I was like, what is the common denominator in this? That was the first thought of those two very well-known famous people and my friend. And I thought, it's what they say to themselves. Because you can't see that. See, you can't see that pain. And so I was like, oh my gosh, okay. I was like, that's the common denominator, what they say to themselves. So, like, what is it they'd be saying to themselves? And I was like, well, they're not speaking to themselves with love and with kindness, right? But you can't see that. And I was like, I thought, oh, I had just finished my very first chapter in a collaborative book and an anthology. And I had just okayed the chapter like the day before. And so I was like, I'll write a book. This was like my big idea moment. I'll write a book. And I was like, self-bullying, what to do when the bully is you. And that was, it just dropped in, and I was like, yes. And all of a sudden, I felt sort of like a peace, but I also felt like I had a plan. And I had no idea what it was going to be about, but I actually felt very peaceful that it didn't matter. It would come to me. So I had the name of the book long before long before I didn't even know what was going to be in it, right? And so that's kind of how that came to be. And I have to say it goes back many years because I felt like this all boiled down to your worth, right? Which is what WOW stands for, is woman of worth or warrior of worth, right? It's how we view ourselves. And it all goes back to the inner voice and what we say to ourselves, whether people hear it or not. It's
Mhm.
how much do we love ourselves. So that's kind of how it all sort of started to come together. And it's been just amazing talking to so many people about that. So that's kind of where it started.
Wow. Kind of brought me back so many memories from the times I went through the hardships. And I myself, I was self-bullying myself too many times. I
Mhm.
did that for many years to a point where I was actually suicidal as well at some point. So I can totally relate to the topic. Um,
And it's why it's such an important thing to take out of the dark, if you will, or out of the silence and bring forward. Because when you share that and you say, hey, yeah, that was me too, I've been there and I've had that challenge before, it allows space for other people to say, oh, maybe I need to fix that. Maybe I need to do better. Maybe I need to learn how to step out of that because it's not something we're taught. We're like, you should smile, you should do this, and it's like, but nobody tells you what to do when you feel broken or you feel less than. It's like not readily available, and we need to make sure those supports are out there.
Definitely, because I know I felt like I didn't have the support when I was going through a lot of times, and then now I realize we have so much support out there. We just kind of have to reach out or be like, yourself when you see it in the other person and you gently, help them. Sometimes the help is, welcome, sometimes not, but eventually people do come around because they get tired of being where they are.
Absolutely. And I think you point out a good thing that I do talk about in the book as well, which is incredibly important, which is being in community with other people, right? And one of the techniques that I developed in the writing of the book, which is called the SNAP technique, it's how you snap out of that self-bullying behavior. And it's why I call it Stop Self-Bullying Movement, because if I teach it to you or teach it to somebody else and you can go teach it to somebody else, the movement grows, whether I'm the one teaching it or not. And it's about awareness because that's the very first thing is to even understand that I'm doing this to myself and I have control. I can make the choice to do something different and say something different to myself because I'm the boss of me. That's what I like to say. And I get to decide what I say about myself.
Yeah.
So,
So I want to talk a little bit more about the Wow Warrior platform. What kind
mhm.
of extraordinary people you highlight there? Can we know a little bit more about that, please?
Sure. So one of the it's interesting. So it's how it evolved, and I would say it's how the Stop Self-Bullying movement and the Wow Warrior movement. It's sort of the Wow Warriors an evolution, if you will, from the Stop Self-Bullying movement. Because what I realized is when I started speaking and connecting and doing some networking thing, I started to really connect with really powerful women because I mostly serve women, but I do mentor a couple men. So I don't exclude them. It's just that I feel like women have more challenges with self-bullying. So that is just sort of the lane that I typically stay in. But where that evolved is once I realized when women get a handle on that self-love language and that negative self-talk, you never are immune and you never stop doing it, but you catch yourself faster. You stop yourself when you become more aware of it. So once we get there and we're starting to manage it and we get to start to model it and be that strong, independent, confident voice for other women, that's that standing up and standing out and accepting yourself as that unrepeatable miracle, right? That we talked about. That's where that wow warrior emerges. That's that woman of worth warrior. We're all that, but we don't always step into that role. It's when you know who you are, you love who you are, exactly where you are, not at some future place when you finish doing this or you make this million or you do this. So we like to hold ourselves back by what we haven't done, right? And this is actually, it's a process, right? And that whole process of standing up and standing out is when you are there, that's when you truly are that wow warrior. You're that woman of worth. You know your worth. You know you are worthy of being on this podcast. You know you're worthy of having your own podcast or joining whatever company you want or shining in any way that you choose and you see fit because you are you, right? That's that journey. So it can be any woman as long as she knows her worth.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I love this whole creating something, going to something else, and making it even bigger. I love how it all flows. It's just beautiful. So now I want to get into a topic of the next collaboration book, which are finally we're together in one, and it's called Yes, I Can and I Did. So I'm really excited for that book to come out soon. Tell us, what inspired you to say yes to this particular project? What was it? Was it the title? Was it something you want to say? Tell us more about it if you can, of course.
Absolutely. That's a great question. And, when I read the title, I was absolutely intrigued. And I've done a lot of things, obviously, in my career. And I mentioned that I'm also in network marketing. I believe it's a wonderful way, especially for women, which was my story 27 years ago of, needing to establish an identity and a way to earn an income as a stay-at-home mom. That's kind of how I started way back then. It's very much evolved from that, but I just wanted to have a little extra money that wasn't already in the budget. And I also wanted to be seen as Sherri Leopold, not just someone's wife, not somebody's mom. I wanted to establish my own identity. And that's what network marketing did for me. It allowed me a lane, if you will, to just be me and to serve others as me. And so in the yes I did, or like I'm like butchering the title. Yes, I did. I actually that I when I started in network marketing way back when I was a direct sales company actually, um, I did it for one reason, but what I realized very quickly right away is that I could be a leader in that lane as myself, not as somebody's mom or somebody's wife, but as Sherry. It was for me, it was an independence thing, and it was the rewards were based on my efforts, right, as myself. And so that in and of itself created its own space for me to grow as a person. And but it's the thing that people will always say, "Eva, oh, you can't make money at that. Nobody makes money at that." And so I chronicle in the journey of how I earned trips, how I've earned an auto bonus, and all that along the way. And that was my thought process all the way along was yes, I can because I want to, I will. And yes, I did. So,
Hmm.
so I kind of chronicle that way. And it's a very interesting topic because it's probably very unlike, I'm not sure, but I haven't read everyone's stories yet, but it's probably very unlike a lot of people's. But the reality is, I don't want anyone ever to be attracted to an opportunity and have that be thwarted because somebody else has taken their failure to thrive or inability to learn how to be successful at it and taint somebody else's journey based on their own poor experience. Um, because it's a choice, right? It is a choice to be successful, just as you are a mindset coach. Uh, you choose to be successful in that lane because it's what you know your gift to be.
Hmm.
And it's up to us to take what we want to do, use the correct self language, right? And that's actually where I started seeing the self-bullying at its ginormous heights. That's why I said it's been a long process in all of that, because that is where I saw women doing it the most. I suck at sales. I'm not good at this. I'm never going to make any money. This is where I started hearing all the self-bullying language. And that's why I say it was a germination of that seed way all the way along of like, wow, we are like in our own way in our head. I see it. Like, where did that come from? Nobody told you you suck at sales. You told yourself that. You
Hmm.
decided that. And then what you tell yourself, you create.
Yeah, because you once or twice you failed at something, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, geez, I'm a failure. But it's like, how many times did it take that? Forget his name, forgive me. The guy that made the light bulb. He failed 270
Einstein.
times before the light bulb existed, and it's like,
Oh,
what?
10,000.
Yeah, or something like that. And it's like, well, if he didn't continue, we would have never had this, or it would have taken X, Y, whatever years longer. So if he or after first or second try is like, man, I suck, pardon my language, then you're giving up, you putting that in your head. So whatever you feeding yourself, eventually you believe it enough that it becomes and takes over you.
Yeah, and then you choose not to move forward because of the language that you've attributed to it. And I
Yeah.
think a perfect example of this, Eva, is I always say to people, well, do you want to be successful at XYZ, whatever it is? You say, well, did you give up too easily? Well, I don't know. When you were 8 months old or 9 months old and you pull yourself up on the edge of a couch or on a chair or whatever, most people know how to walk. I mean, unless you have a physical limitation, you fell down a lot. You didn't know how to do it. You learned. Never once, in my understanding, has an adult ever said at whatever, 12 months, 14 months, whenever people have started to walk, do they ever go, I don't think I feel like walking. I think I'm just going to stay sitting on the floor at 42.
Yeah.
No, you don't see it because they're determined. We are determined. We see something we want and we go for it. So if we have that innately in us, right? The mind is why we get back up after we fall down. That principle that is innate to us can be just put on anything you want to do. You want to start a coaching program, you want to start a podcast, you want to do anything, you can do it. You might fall down, you might skin your knees, you might do it wrong 67 times. Your first podcast probably isn't the same as this one, right? Because we improve as we go, we improve by doing.
Yeah.
So just do it.
Yeah, and sometimes, one thing you start leads to something even bigger and more powerful or better, or a combination of things that you do, like yourself. You have so many things going for yourself now. So it's interesting to see where it can take us if we don't give up. Yeah.
Right. And actually keeping your mind open to the possibility that even if you start in one place, I always say you're not a tree, right? You don't have roots so deep you can't move. There's nothing to say that you can't flex and move, that once you decided to do something, you have to do it that way. We're about change. That's one of the things I talk about all the time is choice. We can choose how we speak to ourselves. We can choose what we want to do in life. We choose who we are. And one of my famous sayings is choices create change. When you change your choices will change.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That- yeah. I mean, like if you don't like what you're doing or it doesn't feel right, choose something different.
Mm-hmm.
Just change it. Just even sometimes it's not a start or a stop. Sometimes it's a minute tweak. You don't have to leave the building, so to speak. You can maybe make a small change. Like even in network marketing or affiliate marketing, what I talked about in the book. If you're not getting the results that you want, go find somebody who's crushed it and go ask for mentorship. Go say what was your top 10 most successful things that you did. Go ask your AI buddy, your chat GPT. Go ask for help. It's there. If you want to be successful, make the choice to be successful and go find what you need to do it. That's the way to say, yes, I can, and I did. That's the way to do it is go find the people that did it and go duplicate it. There's almost nothing that's a secret.
And it's funny because that was my next question. What is one advice you would give to someone who is struggling to believe that they can and they will? So maybe in a short, what is,
Sure.
yeah.
I would say the first thing you have to do is believe in yourself. Make the choice to say to yourself, I am everything I need already. Everything I need to be successful is already inside of me. The only thing I need to do is execute. And you don't have to execute it right. A little baby who is trying to learn to walk doesn't just pull themselves up on the edge of a couch and then go walk across the room and into the next room. They do it by baby steps, by falling down, getting up, and then they do 2 steps, then they do 5, then they do 10. That's how you get what you want, is to take steps. And the publisher that we have our book published with, Action Takers Publishing, there's a reason she calls it Action Takers, and that is because action is always rewarded.
Hmm.
Inaction is an action, and it's not one that gives you power. It actually takes your power away. When you don't make a choice, you only have the ability to react, not respond. So be an action taker. Even if it's not the right action, you can make another one.
Yeah. And being, amongst other authors, what was it like to be among them who are also sharing stories of courage and transformation? What's it like to be for you?
It's a wonderful experience to be surrounded with the kinds of people that say, yes, I can. I am around that all the time, Eva, on purpose, and have been for so many years. People always say, how do you know so many amazing people? I'm like, it's because I show up as the amazing me that I am, and I'm only gonna attract those people who have that self-belief, who have the courage, who have the conviction to do what they feel like they were meant to do, and that stand up and stand out as that unrepeatable miracle that they are. They know who they are. And when you know who you are, you will automatically attract the right people, like the people in this book who are very on purpose in their life.
Hmm. Beautiful. So, what legacy do you hope to leave through your movement, your platforms, and books like the one we're going to be in together?
I think no, I believe that the key to life is to know who you are and to stand up and stand out based on knowing who you are. And that's a self transformation, right? It's that point of confidence in who you are, exactly who you are, no qualifiers there. You don't have to do anything to get to that spot to where you're awesome. Knowing that you are awesome exactly who you are right now is how you're going to succeed in life, in no matter what, if it's professional, personal, in your relationships, everything. When you know who you are, the right things will come to you, the right people will come to you, the right opportunities will come to you.
Wow, amazing. Ah, this podcast is so good. So many golden nuggets here. And I have one more question for you. The name of the podcast is Rise and Thrive Mornings with Intention. How important do you think it is to set intention first thing in the morning for the rest of your day?
I think it's incredibly important. I think it should be paired with saying something with great intention to yourself before you fall asleep as well. Sort of that, so it's connected. I believe, some people pray before bed or whatever that looks like for you. But I think speaking good over yourself, your life, and your intention should be set even before you go to sleep. I think it should be almost like bookends, like where you say it before you go to sleep and you wake up to it in affirmation of what you've trained your brain to say to yourself and that you want to achieve all night. So, yes, it's incredibly important because it sets the tone for the day. And for what you're going to achieve, right? I always say I'm a licensed brain trainer with Dr. Amen, and you know what? I believe your actions follow your thoughts. So the first thoughts that you have in the morning are critically important. So set a good intention, even if it's just today, I'm going to smile and be open to meeting new people today. Whatever that is. Some people like to develop an actual mantra that they say. I think other people just, I'm sort of more fluid. I'm more of a talking to myself in the morning person, but I know other people feel very comforted by having a mantra. And if that's the case, make that mantra something that you can repeat as a part of, like you say, setting that intention. I am going to greet the day with I greet the day with joy and am going to meet amazing people today. Whatever that intention is or whatever it is that speaks to you, but do set it. I like to have the bookends where I set it at night and in the morning, but that's up to each person.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for all that. And thank you so much for being on my podcast, Sherri. It's been lovely to have you, and I can't wait for our book to come out. It's going to be exciting. So don't forget, follow us and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. And I wish you a beautiful day, and thank you for watching today.
Thank you so much, Eva.
You're welcome. Thank you.